All right, Overwatch 2. It is still a game that people are excited for. Last week, the game's director announced a beta and gave us a big update on what's coming up for the game, the first news we've heard about it in months. So let's break down everything we know about Overwatch 2 and why I'm genuinely worried about this game. All right, folks, before we get into the video, I just want to remind you all to please sub to the channel and turn on notifications if you haven't done it yet, because it really does help. Okay, so Overwatch 2 got announced all the way back in November 2019 at BlizzCon, amidst a ton of bad news coming out of Blizzard. Notably, bad news has not stopped coming out of Blizzard since then. Anyway, the idea was that one of the big upgrades for the sequel was that Overwatch 2 was going to have an increased focus on PvE content, something that casual players really enjoyed but didn't always have access to in the base game. They announced a new character, Sojourn, and that basically every old character was getting a visual redesign, which so far has mostly involved making them all uglier and more complicated. I mean, what the f were they thinking with Mercy's new haircut? Look at this. This is a woman who is demanding to talk to your manager. I hate it. Then they announced some character reworks, which is gonna include taking characters like Sombra and Doomfist down a peg. And then, just under a year ago, they announced that the PvP parts of the game were moving to 5v5, down one player from Overwatch 1 6v6. After that, we didn't really hear anything. It's basically been radio silence since May 2021. But then last week, the game's third director, Aaron Keller, was featured in a video making some pretty big announcements. First, they are separating, at least for now, the PvP and PvE aspects of Overwatch 2. That's gonna let them start beta testing in a private beta for Blizzard employees and their key partners like Overwatch League pros. In April, that beta is gonna open up to the public and signups are open now. The beta is gonna feature 4 new maps, 4 new character reworks, the new push gameplay mode, and the new ping system. Side note, one of those new maps is the Toronto map they announced forever ago, but now we finally know that it is called New Queen Street. What the f happened to old Queen Street? Also, what is Tim Fordson's? Did our Premier somehow buy out Tim Hortons in the future? And how the f does our subway ever end up looking like this? Inquiring minds demand to know. Anyway, Keller ended the video by promising that there are going to be more updates in the future and that Overwatch players are going to be a bigger part of the design process going forward. He also said that the reason there's been such a dearth of content for Overwatch 1 lately is because most of the dev team has been hard at work on Overwatch 2 and basically leaving the original game dying on the vine. Keller apologized for that. He said there's gonna be more communication in the future and that this new process is gonna let the dev team deliver more PvP content updates to Overwatch 1, but that's where I get a little confused. See, back when Overwatch 2 was announced, then game director Jeff Kaplan promised that Overwatch 1 and 2 will have a quote shared multiplayer environment where no one gets left behind. All new maps and characters are going to come to Overwatch 1. I'm assuming that also means Overwatch 1 players are going to get the 5v5 gameplay mode and any balance updates, while the single player content will be exclusive to Overwatch 2. And this is where they totally lose me, because at this point, why does Overwatch 2 even exist? Why aren't they just, I don't know, updating Overwatch 1 and adding content to it? The answer is money, of course, but I feel like they'd make more of it and spend less of it if they just did all these PvP updates to Overwatch 1 they're doing anyway for free and releasing like a PvE battle pass or something alongside it. The game can't feel significantly different in a way that's gonna attract a massive new player base because they have to run on the same engine. They're cross-compatible for multiplayer. And there's no way PvP and PvE run on totally different engines. That would be an insane amount of work for basically no reward. At the same time, they are completely changing the original game with all these reworks, the new maps, the new characters, and the 5v5 gameplay. That is also an insane amount of work. And while it's really cool that they're going to still support the original game, that makes it really hard to justify buying the sequel from my perspective. What are Overwatch 1 players not getting? Skins and PvE content, right? So basically, the brand new, presumably $60+ video game is a glorified skin pack for anyone not interested in the PvE content. And at the same time, I'm someone who genuinely liked the PvE stuff in Overwatch 1, and it's impossible for me to justify buying Overwatch 2 because I already own half the game. I bought it back in 2016 when it was called Overwatch 1. Genuinely, what the f is Blizzard doing? I don't understand. To give you even more of a headache, the upcoming season of the Overwatch League is going to be played on the Overwatch 2 beta, which makes sense. It's open to the public, so everyone can play. But then Keller said that there are going to be more betas in the future, which means this upcoming one isn't going to be up indefinitely. That's going to mean that there are probably going to be some moments when the Overwatch League is playing a game that you literally can't play at home. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just really weird and confusing and sort of goes against the whole idea that an esports league is a giant ad for your game. Look, Overwatch 2 has been a mess. It's gone through 3 different directors since being announced. The game it's a sequel to is in a state of disrepair. It has trouble justifying its existence, and we didn't hear anything about it for almost a year. And to top it all off, Blizzard is one of the most hated companies in gaming right now due to all the allegations of horrible sexism, discrimination, and harassment happening at the company. The announcement that people are finally gonna get to try Overwatch 2 after all these years is probably great for those people who are somehow still Overwatch fans after all these years. And you know what? I bet the game's gonna be good. It's probably gonna be really fun, if not as revolutionary as the original. But as someone who played Overwatch religiously back in 2016 and 2017, I'm not hearing anything that's pulling me back in. Worse, I'm concerned because Blizzard basically killed Overwatch when they ended support for it and started working on Overwatch 2. And now all the new PvP content they were working on is coming to Overwatch 1 anyway. I have no real reason to buy Overwatch 2. Hopefully the update gives me a new fun reason to play this game I've already owned for 6 years, but honestly, I'm more confused and concerned about Overwatch than ever.
Do you remember that song that was like, maybe I'll be Tracer, I'm already Tracer, what about Widowmaker, I'm already Widowmaker?
I don't think I ever actually listened to that song. I had a friend who heard it, and because I was playing a lot of Overwatch, would like make jokes about that song, and they're not a particularly good singer, and so it was very annoying, and so it never made me go and listen to the actual song. When you worked at theScore esports offices, especially in 2016, 2017, it was really a hermetically sealed, like, yogurt tub of irony. And so to listen to something like that, that was like, oh, that's like the popular meme, we can't do that.